Good evening. Welcome to YP Vote's 2023 election night coverage. I'm your host, Harry Purcell. Will South Australians wake up to a brighter future tomorrow? Or is it time for our state to thrive? This was the very question left to you, the voters, over this past period of election. Joining me at the desk tonight is Simona Salva, Chief Political Correspondent with us here at the Parliamentary Post. Also joining us from their respective campaign headquarters, we have Jordan, a strong supporter and voter for Brighter Party SA, as well as M, a backer of Thrive Party SA and a well-known political commentator specifically on South Australian elections. Out in the field, we also have Simona Silver, providing on-the-ground direct coverage of what is occurring and previous information of results over the past part of the day. And the one we're all waiting for, the maestro herself, Ali Green, Chief Political Analysis and Psephologist with us here at the Parliamentary Post to give us all the results coming in and all the updates as we go. So I believe the polls have just closed, Ali. So if we cut over to you, we can get some information about what all this means.
Thank you, Harry. Yes, the polls have just closed and the electoral officers are busy sorting out the informal ballots and sorting through the formal ballots and counting those. Early information shows we have around 700 votes from the public this year, which is a truly astonishing turnout. However, as you can see with such early numbers, with only about 1% counted, we don't really have any results to sway or sways to show you right now. If we have a peek at the seats to win, of course, in the shape of the Parliament, the House to win, which determines government, is the House of Assembly, which is to the left here. In order for either party to win it, they need to get at least 25 seats. To achieve this 25, if we have a look at what electorates there are that we care about for this election, we see the first key division of Mayo. This is a newly recreated electorate, having been dissolved in the past, but returning only this year. Next, as we can see, the electorate of Martin, a very strong ratio of single and unmarried people in this electorate. So it'll be interesting to see how this one swings. Following that is Rashid. Now this is a quite small and densely populated area, a real jamboree of activity. And finally, Edgecombe. Now this electorate used to scare most polling commentators due to just how unpredictable it was. But I feel this year Edgecombe will bring in consistent and interesting results. So these four are the ones to watch as they really show which way the election will go.
All right, thank you, Ali. Really interesting information this year, and 25 to win. That seems to be what we're looking at here, 25 to win. So keep an eye out as the seats are coming in and we'll see which party's starting to, grab it as we start to go throughout the night. So with just primitive results in, of course, we can't necessarily speak too much about how it's going. So we might cut to our panel discussion now to have an analysis of what's been going in. So firstly, let's cut to Simona, see what your view on this entire situation is. What do you think so far?
Yes, well, I'm quite impressed with both parties this year. For relatively new parties in the political scene, I think they've done quite a good job at encompassing, especially the youth vote, which is very important in this election, as you are aware.
That is, it's the floods coming in of people, young people, is quite good, especially seeing them getting involved in the election.
Exactly.
And the electoral process, even though we can allow people below the age of 18 to vote. In fact, any human being can vote. At some point we had to discard a dog who voted. It was quite controversial, but that was Florida 2000. It's a long story. There's also, I believe I remember reading something on one of your electoral blogs, something about vegetarianism being linked to Party Thrive?
Yeah, we have some interesting results coming in from the Australian Research Council that a vegetarian individual is more likely to vote Thrive. We aren't quite sure of the reasons behind this, maybe something within their policy agendas towards animals, but we aren't quite certain.
And I hate to mention her, I know she's your psephologist rival, Rebecca Barker. You don't like her, but she was talking about veganism actually being something for brighter, which is quite strange out there. But of course, we can go back and forth about this as much as we want, and we can discuss the parties. But the key is, let's actually chat to the representatives of the parties, see if any of them are vegetarian, for example, and see what they're getting at. So, with that, if we cut first probably to Jordan, therefore. Jordan, this has been quite a campaign for Brighter this year, of course. What do you think the outcome of tonight will be?
Well, Harry, as you know, as supporter of the best party, Brighter Party SA, I truly think SA will show its support for us and bring us the win for government. I also feel the policies that Brighter's committees are bringing truly will make SA a better state with a brighter future. Just for example, democracy, governance and rights will be tackling political misinformation to make our democracy stronger and safer. Health and well-being, pushing back the growing epidemic among young people, vapes. And rec arts and culture will be increasing accessibility for young people to access the very important extracurriculars. I feel these issues are so important, they speak to voters and they'll help get us across the line. By the end of tonight, SA will be brighter.
All right. Em, what is your view on this?
Thank you, Harry. I agree with Jordan that what the Brighter Party is tackling is important. However, I feel Thrive delivered a stronger campaign and the issues tackled by our party spoke more to the public. If we think to just some bills Thrive will be introducing, rehabilitation of offenders is the backbone of criminal justice, and the Crime, Justice and Corrections Committee are helping to improve their rehabilitation by actually giving pathways to offenders once released. But even if rehabilitated, our communities and public spaces are simply not accessible. So the Housing, Transport and Infrastructure Committee are improving infrastructure to be more human-centred. And our Gender and Sexual Diversity Committee is tackling the important issue of ensuring that our public servants are properly educated on the diversity in our communities to best serve all. SA is already bright. We don't need to get brighter. What we need to do is thrive.
Well, it's up to the people now to finally determine this. I can see you're both passionate, and having watched the campaign, I can see both the leaders of both the parties very much are passionate about this election and ensuring that the South Australian youth are represented. But if we very quickly jump over to Ali, I believe we have some more results coming in.
Yes, Harry, thank you. As the vote is coming in, we have 20% counted at the moment, but we are getting some early results from the seat of Bannister. Yes, it's not one of the key seats, but it is holding some interesting results. Now, of course, with these early numbers, this seat is looking to lean more towards Brighter by 0.4 points, but this is not unexpected. Early polls in the campaign showed that this was a Brighter stronghold, with it even in the majority with the two-party preferred. However, you will now see it is polling a little under how we expected, with a 2% swing to the Thrive Party compared to the opinion polls. However, Thrive is definitely still in this race. And this is proven from the regional seat of Grinter. Now, with only 2% reporting, but there is a strong lean to the Thrive Party here. There was not much pre-polling in this seat, so we cannot tell exactly how bad or good this is for the Thrive and Brighter parties. One poll shows that these results are dead on what was expected. However, this is only 2% in, so there's still a picnic of votes out there. And we have an early rock to the boat. Rashid, the key swing seat, has reported an exactly 50-50 split, with 6% of the vote already counted. Compared to polls, there was a small swing to Thrive. However, this is still very minor in the grand scheme of things. In fact, a poll done 2 weeks ago showed that the electorate is almost itself completely split between Thrive and Brighter. Very exciting stuff going on here, as we can see. So this will truly be a win by a nose for whichever party gets this seat. I may just come down to which party managed to rally enough people to vote.
My goodness gracious me, a 50-50 split. with
I
that,
feel like that's a rare occasion in these youth elections. Normally it's much more divisive, but this year voters have really struggled to choose a candidate.
it's too tight of an election. Even me, when I was casting my vote, it was quite difficult which way I would go. But Ali, with it so far, results very primitive, and we do have a 50-50 split on a swing seat, but do you have any minor hunches of which way you think this is going to go?
Honestly, Harry, no. This is going to be a real nail biter. It's going to be way too close to call.
Well, Jordan and Rashid is a 50-50 split at this point, and no no electorate actually is a clear steal between the two of them. So are you getting nervous at your party HQs at the moment? I'd imagine it's getting quite worrisome over there.
No, Harry, we are still as pumped as before. We knew this was going to be a tight race, but we are happy to see that Bannister has collectively chosen a brighter future.
Em?
We are still all smiles down here at Thrive HQ. The Grinter result was a welcome surprise to all. We have faith that Grinter's Thrive lead is just a single brick in this purple wall we will form.
I know you both said there's all smiles in your HQs, but I do suspect the smallest shred of doubt by both parties at this time. And again, it is very, very early in the coverage.
And you say smallest shred of doubt. On Twitter right now, looking at it, people who are supporting Thrive, sending hashtags in that are we can still do this ! So that's quite good. And then Bright is backing it up too. So it seems at least the populace, the avid voters for Thrive, seeing these results coming in, and Brighter, are very much supporting it. So we'll see which way that goes with these results coming in from the Twitter. Before we get too carried away, we'll cut to Simoda Silver out in the field for an on-ground analysis. So Simoda, I hear it's been a hectic day out there. Have you got any information for us? What's your report?
Yes, that's right, Harry. I'm coming to you live in the evening, as evidenced by the blue sky behind me. And earlier this morning, I took to the polling booths to ruin the fundamental principle behind the secret ballot. As a small business owner and a proud owner of small business, Biggie Smalls small business. I'm very passionate about small businesses, and that's why I'm voting Thrive this year. I want to see my business in their business incubator program too.
We always like a brighter future, don't we? We love something being bright.
Ma non sono certo, perché sono 17 anni e poi è difficile mandare il...
If I were to vote, I'd say I might vote Thrive. I'm sorry, I have to vote if I have to. It's democracy. And I believe it's Thrive that has a very important single brighter, something to do with education and fixing things for people. The one thing about the cost of living crisis is that, although it doesn't affect people who live out on the ocean, it does affect those who live on the land. Well, I would say me and the missus, sorry, I looked at the camera again, love. Me and the missus are terrified of the plastics. We believe that they're invading. We believe soon we're going to have a plastic bottle as the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Adore it, I can tell you that.
So have you actually ever lived out on the ocean?
I went on a P&O cruise once, and that was really good. Went around the southern bit, Adelaide, Melbourne, Tasmania, come back. A couple of days, it was really quite good. I watched the movie Titanic. That's a pretty good one. And I like taking baths. So yeah.
Yes, lots of different opinions heading into the polling booths this morning, but through careful analysis, I can safely conclude that one of the parties will end up in government. Harry?
Well, thank you, Simoda, for that report. It's really good to see people so passionate when they're going to vote in a democratic election. We love democracy, don't we, here? Ah, beautiful. Seeing what they actually believe in as well, hearing from the people as they're going in to cast their votes. We can take polls and opinion polls in months prior to an election, but hearing what actually matters to people as they're going into those polling booths, that's the creme de la creme of all results coming in. Now, before we cut to Em and Jordan for their analysis of not only the results that have come in so far during these segments, but also on what those voters said, we might first cut over to Ali because I believe she has some more information about the votes coming in.
So everything is really flowing through now with 41% of the vote counted. If we look at the state as a whole, we see that compared to the polls, the Brighter SA party is performing better than expected and Thrive worse. However, this is merely a broad analysis, and what matters most is how it looks in each seat as they come through. But Brighter may be excited about now. Interesting too is here we have data showing the north and south split, with each end of the state having preference for a different party. So as we can see, the north metro and north regional areas have a preference for Thrive, and the south areas have a preference for the Brighter party. So we're not exactly sure what this means, but it is highly interesting. Now we can also have a look at the seats that we are projecting. I won't go into any of these as per polling, they were highly expected to go to one party or the other. Thrive is only on the government side in this graph as they have the most declared seats in the House at the moment. I want to stress we are not projecting that Thrive will be winning. However, we do project Thrive have 14 seats and the Brighter Party have 10 seats here.
Already 24 seats cast this early in the night?
Yes, already 24 seats. Now, to look at some of the more hot topic seats then, if we look, the seat of Mayo has undoubtedly gone to Brighter. The 8-point lead is just getting worse and worse and more difficult for Thrive to come back from, with 58% of the vote already counted. Now, though that looks like only just a little over half the voters in, the share of votes going to Brighter here shows that this is a Brighter stronghold, and there's no indication of Thrive doing an early vote or declaration vote push. It may just stay going on this trend. This being a western suburb seat displays Brighter as forming a stronghold in that southwestern metropolitan region. Now, the news, frankly, only gets worse for Thrive from here. If we look to the seat of Bannister, even though this was not a key electorate, Brighter currently has a 1-point lead. Now, the vote is 64% in. However, that 1-point lead is still very precarious. The big thing here is that early polling showed that this seat was a Thrive stronghold. Now, just look at that. It's a lot closer to tell than what we thought. Now, this seems to be where Brighter's luck ends, to be honest. However, as the unmarried demographic in Martin seems to be flocking to Thriver's politics. Yep, you're seeing this right. That is a 36-point lead to Thrive. This is frankly dramatic, and with 67% of the vote in, I'm willing to declare this seat for Thrive.
Ali? What about Rashid? We want to hear from an update on that.
Now, this is the fun one. Rashid is still exactly a 50-50 split. With 56% of the vote in, this seems almost impossible. It appears that both the parties' strong pork barrelling and ad campaigns in the area really split the electorate.
Goodness, I was not expecting Rashid to be so close, to be honest. It's looking like tonight is going to be a bit of a cluster jamboree.
And I haven't even gotten to the seat of Edgecombe yet. Thrive may just take the cake here as well. Look at that, 99% of the votes counted. Those guys need a raise over there, but as we can see, Thrive might as well just call that seat for them.
All right, look at that. It's not looking good for Brighter so far with all these seats being declared, Ali. Well, thank you. We can see it's heating up right now, and with these new results having just come in, and from the segment earlier from Simona where we spoke to voters out on the ground to see what they were voting on, we might cut to Em and Jordan to see what they at their party HQs are viewing right now. I bet it's not only heating up and getting tighter over there with these results flowing in, but also very interesting to see their views on what these voters was saying and how it interacts with their parties. So how about we begin with them?
Thank you, Harry. These results are looking real good for Thrive, with Ali already declaring 2 seats to our party. We aren't surprised, of course, but we are grateful. And as you could hear from Simona's segment, the voters are yearning for change. And that gentleman mentioned his grandkids' struggles at school. Thrive's Education, Training and Trades Committee is doing what has been left to the wayside for too long and allowing students to have an education system that individually suits them and not some production line factory. And that young business owner we saw, whose regional small business is struggling to make ends meet in this economy, our Employment, Economy and Business Committee has proposals to actually allow business owners like her to compete and thrive. We take this as a testament to the electorate for their unwavering support for the Thrive Party SA.
Interesting. What about Jordan?
Yes, thank you, Harry. Those results did not appear all too good for Bryda, but we still have faith. Our internal polling shows that Bryda voters often voted early in the day, meaning their votes are at the bottom of the pile. We think that's how it works. Anyway, we are all still buzzing over here, and what makes us so excited is hearing that the concerns of the electorate from Simona's segment really reflect a support for Bryda. That young man's concerns about social housing during this cost of living crisis align almost perfectly with what Bryda's Community Support and Human Services is focusing on, which is increasing accessibility and access to social housing, specifically for those in rural areas. And that couples concerns over recycling and the lack of public understanding about how and where to recycle. Our Climate, Environment and Energy Committee is focusing on soft plastics, especially given the lack of understanding and education amongst young people on how and where to recycle these materials. Bryda is looking to solve the issues we face by preparing our younger generations, and we feel this speaks strongly to a Bryda victory.
Fortunately, and especially for the viewers at home, we have to go to a short break for just a moment. I believe we have a message coming in from Her Excellency.
The Youth Governors of Australia have united.
We have listened to you, the young people of Australia, and we have read all your submissions.
We are very proud to announce the national matter of public importance.
The 2023 National Motion of Public Importance is that this House endorses the implementation of a federal human rights bill.
We look forward to you all debating this NMPI in our respective youth parliaments.
Simona, the Youth Governor looks a lot like you.
No relation, I promise.
Well, all right, fine then. Sorry, Simona. We might cut to Ali. I believe she has more results coming in.
Thank you. The numbers are starting to paint a picture now. With 71% of the vote in, our system is beginning to calculate away. And while you were all talking, we declared a few more seats, and we can see that in the House, Bryda and Thrive are almost neck and neck. Look at that. So close right there. Now, with 22 seats each, there are only 4 seats left. So, which means each party needs 3 of them to win. Now, Bryda had a large push with some regional seats coming in just a couple of moments ago with some Bryda leads. If that push continues, Bryda may have the election. Now, the Legislative Council is, of course, a little bit slower with counting, but in determining the government, is mostly in concerts with the House in this situation. And in determining who is the winner, we can see that there are essentially only 3 seats left up for grabs. Now, I do have to apologise, and earlier I reported Martin had a 26-point lead over Thrive, so I declared their seat their way. But it turns out our computer system was having a bit of a glitch. Now, Thrive actually only has a 2.2-point lead, not 18. It is still leaning Thrive's way, but I retract our declaration earlier. Martin is still up for grabs with 93% of the vote count in. Now, there is also another surprise. The seat of Timar is also looking to shape up in this late state to be a deciding seat. With 91% reporting, the seat is still too tight a race to call. Timar is in the dead centre of the metropolitan Adelaide. Now, people often confuse this seat for the seat of Purcell as they look particularly identical. Now, however, they are quite different, as we can see in the polling, with a much tighter race in the seat of Timar and might as well declare Thrive in the seat of Purcell.
My goodness, they're practically identical.
Anyway, because of this, there are key seats that we are left to determine the election are. So we have the seats of Mayo, Martin, Rashid and Timar. In fact, if we go to the statewide swing, we see that Brighter's swing has all but diminished and disappeared.
With these new results coming flooding in, especially the Timar situation, Silmoda, what's your view on this?
This goes against everything that I did foresee, to be honest, but I am getting some statistics in from my research team at the moment, and they did find a significant left-handed population in the division of Timar. 48.8% of Timar residents.
I'm so sorry, Silmoda. We have to cut. I believe Alyssa has some information coming in right now.
I have reports in. If we have a look at these seats in, we can see that Martin and Rashid have been declared. Our computer system is confident that the numbers show that Brighter cannot get it back. Now, Mayo and Timar are merely leaning either way, as we can see. However, Brighter need to flip the Mayo and gain Timar to have a chance to win this election. Thrive have 24 of the necessary 25 seats to form government. So it's not looking good, Harry.
My goodness gracious me, it's getting into a precarious position. With the results coming in at this point, we'll just have to wait and see which way the people are voting. And it's interesting. My goodness, okay. I believe at this point with Alyssa over there, where she's just doing some final calculations, we're going to have to quickly have a look. Okay, so some more numbers have come in, I believe. Are these accurate? Okay, they're accurate. Seeing them coming in, we've got them up on the screen now. We'll cut to it shortly. We just need to verify these results.
Wow.
All right. Okay, this may be the call for the election at this point. Okay, Alyssa?
Are you sure, though? Are you sure they've all been counted correctly? Do you pinky promise? Oh, all right, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. All right. We are confident that Mayo has gone to Thrive and we will declare it. Therefore, I can say that Thrive Party SA has won the 2023 Youth Government election and will form the 28th Youth Government of South Australia. Well done. Robin Wood will be the next Youth Premier of South Australia, leading his government during this sitting. I am sure Thrive HQ will be buzzing right now. And Zoe Hughes will be the leader of the opposition. Brighter's politics are still strong, so I am certain they will give the government a run for their money.
Well, there we are. We're bowed towards the end, and the results are announced. So there we are. We will have a Thrive government. So what's your view on it?
I think this is a great lesson for all of us that every vote does count. We've seen the results have been incredibly neck and neck right till the end. I can imagine only a couple tens of votes being the difference between a government and an opposition result.
Of course, it would be very tight. We've got a government that's formed on 25 seats, one seat, and then 23 on the other half. It's quite, there's quite an interesting result coming in here. Of course, the situation is with the 25 and 23 seats coming in here, we can see that if there's a seat not yet counted in there, it doesn't matter because it's already been announced for Thrive. So I think if there's another seat being counted, Ali's wandered off. She'll be coming back later, don't worry about that. But if there's another seat to count, if it goes in favour of Brighter at this point, it will be solid for Thrive. We have a premier. Look at that. We have a youth premier. Isn't that just absolutely gripping at this point?
Yes. Taking a succession from the former Honourable Member Simona Silva. Not to be confused with Simoda Silva and Silmoda Salva.
Yes, and of course, not to be confused with Her Excellency, the Youth Governor either. They're very strange situation going on in South Australia at the moment, of course, but we'll make it through. And then, of course, it's building on from the horrendous reign of Premier Harry before that, which, of course, the previous Premier tried to recover from. But, of course, we're wiped clean. New parties, new election, and we have a new government under the Thrive Party. And we have a new opposition from Brighter. And I believe that they're going to really, really, really put the government on their toes for this. But not only that, we can talk all we want about what these parties are going to be doing, but we need to hear from them themselves. So why we've been delaying here, the crowds at the HQs, we can see them on the screen, are really rallying, of course, at one of the places. If we have a look, I believe we have the concession speech from Ms. Hughes, the opposition leader Hughes, to see what her views are from the concession.
Just a little while ago, I called Robin, the Premier, to congratulate him on Thrive's successful election to government. The campaign period was fun and enjoyable, and it was great to see really strong bills from both parties throughout the week. I cannot wait to work with Robin and the rest of the leadership team to create an open and positive experience for Youth Parliament this year. Although Brighter SA were unable to win this election, it is great that we still have a strong team of leaders and an even stronger party in government this year. So once again, congratulations to Thrive SA. I cannot wait to see what you guys do, and I can't wait to work with you guys this year.
Very humble concession from the Honourable Zoe Hughes, but I do think that there is a brighter future for the Brighter Party under the governance of the Honourable Zoe Hughes.
With a party of that leadership, it's only a matter of time before they get government eventually. And I believe coming up onto the stage now is the Premier-elect of the Youth Parliament of South Australia for their speech now. Premier Wood, let's have a listen.
A few minutes ago, I received a phone call from Zoe Hughes, formally conceding the election. And on behalf of Party Thrive, thank you for placing your trust in us to help South Australia thrive. I look forward to working with Zoe Hughes, Leader of the Opposition, to tackle the issues of today to make a better tomorrow. Right now, the bulk of our work is yet to begin, but I have absolute faith that in the 28th sitting of Youth Parliament, Party Thrive will help South Australia thrive once more. Thank you all so very much, and remember, stay slaying.
Well, that's the result, isn't it? We've elected Party Thrive to be our government for the next year, and Robin Wood will be our leader, and we have a wonderful Leader of the Opposition, Zoe Hughes. I'm looking forward to all of this. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, especially the viewers, thanking Ali Green for her in-depth expert advice and analysis on what these results mean. Of course, Em and Jordan joining from their HQs, of course, one of them celebrating now, one of them not so much. And of course, Ms. Silva for her in-depth analysis as a political correspondent at the Parliamentary Post, in addition to the stuff that Ali was saying as well. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us as well for this in-depth report into the election as they're coming in. And best of luck to the future. We're going to have a future that thrives.